Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Around the Block with GoodBlock. We got a really cool episode today talking about a whole lot of stuff around what the heck is a security and why does it matter to cryptos. And boy, this one is deep and dark and disturbing. Some of our favorite people at the SEC are a little red in the face. So we'll get to that in a second. All right, so we're going to get kicked off today. We've got Erica and Nathaniel from GoodBlock. Got a great show coming up. Going to be exciting. And take a minute, hit that subscribe button so you keep getting this awesome content. All right, so let's get this started with a little appetizer about how some game spaces are banning crypto and what that means for all of us. We've got Minecraft, we've got Steam. They're saying no bueno to crypto. What's going on? Nathaniel, you want to kind of give us the rundown of the sitch?
Well, the most recent thing is Mojang decided that they put out a press release that they're not going to allow NFTs nor blockchain technology in any of their mods for Minecraft. They're going to actually pursue preventing people from doing that. They don't think that it aligns with their game values, according to the long statement that they put out last week. So, and this just follows suit with a bunch of other groups that are also doing this. So Steam just recently did it. Roblox just recently did it. I wonder what this means for the blockchain.
Yeah, well, it also feels like it shows a misunderstanding of all the different facets of blockchain technology, right? I mean, there's so many aspects of this that we've talked about in the past are super beneficial to the gaming communities. And it seems like they're kind of just shutting it out for their own profit, and sure, because they don't necessarily understand it, right? I mean, think about how huge the mod community is on Minecraft, and now you're like disallowing them from using NFTs. The same thing with Steam, right?
We'll take all that money. Don't we're the company. We'll be taking all that money that you bring in. No chance for you to sell NFTs and get any of it.
It's
right?
Microsoft. So, they know about the blockchain.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, they do. Oh, yeah. Microsoft has for a long time. So, yeah, this is a case where people are going in and going, nope, we'll just take all of those, even though NFTs and blockchain offers a chance for much better user experience, right? You don't have to keep buying the same things over and over for game upgrades and things like that. Different mods. The people who are bringing all this additional value into the system, like by modding Minecraft and by and then on Steam as well, they're like, nope, you guys can't benefit from that. I think it's great for blockchain because not as good as it would have been if they had said, yeah, we're fully embracing blockchain and come on in, but that would have been great. But second best is them saying, nope, absolutely not, never, because that means that blockchain based businesses can have a real reason to do this.
Yeah, it's very true.
It's just going to open up more opportunities for people who do see the value in it, right? I mean, so already NFT Worlds has announced that they, after that news, are going to basically make their own copy of Minecraft that does involve NFTs.
Yeah, why wouldn't they? It's a great chance.
Community.
That was always, by the way, the vision of D-Realms, like basically use the power of user-generated content, which is what made YouTube the video platform that rose to the top. It was never the only one. Use that power to empower an NFT-based metaverse platform. And I still hope we can do it. Once again, we were way too far ahead of the curve on that. But user-generated content is really important, and I think what we'll see is big platforms that are basically making their money off licensing, like Pokemon and Disney and things like that. They will definitely do their own NFT platforms in their own time. There's no need for them to lead the market, because when Disney or Pokemon or whatever, and also remember, Disney is Star Wars and Marvel and all those things. When those come out, they'll just come out with their own ecosystems. The only question will be whether they put it on an existing blockchain or just run their blockchain themselves, probably they'll do that.
Well,
They
like
like to sort of like
Private, for
a
sure.
Web 2 idea versus a Web 3 idea. They're centralized. They have a company. They have a copyright. You know,
Yeah,
Disney's
like at
putting
one
yeah,
point,
yeah,
I
they have
wanted to
that IP. That's the
differentiate, you
value.
know, like
right,
if a company
right.
has its own private blockchain, are we still going to call it Web3? No,
No,
right?
no, not
It won't be Web3, but they don't care
right.
because so many
Because it's on
people
a
will go
blockchain.
out. Well, so many, I mean, Star Wars NFTs, officially licensed Star Wars NFTs, people will like, let alone Marvel, let alone the Disney Princess, all these things. But that will be a sign that NFT markets are rather mature, right? There's no need for them to get out ahead of it. They're making plenty of money. They will make more when it's easy and clear, but there's no need whatsoever for them to be pioneers, right? They'll make the money when they make it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I look at Pokemon Go, and that was super popular and still amazingly popular. You were just showing some of
GoFest was
the
this weekend,
stats with
this last
me.
weekend in Seattle here. It was amazing.
Yeah. So, but you cannot bring any. You can't create your own routes. You can't do anything. And one of the things I loved about Clueless, so we should explain a little bit what it is, and I'll kind of hand that over to you, maybe Nathaniel, a second. But Clueless was entered the Telos Hackathon. I was a judge in that, and all of us judges thought, "Wow, this is far and away the biggest one." Then when we went to Austin. And
Conference.
met those guys. They were great. They showed me like new stuff, and I decided to get involved in that because I think it's just going to be so huge. And you're beta testing for them. But what's exciting is they let users put in their own routes and quests and objects and things like that. I mean, and just imagine like the route, the quest that leads to your pizza restaurant, or coffee house, or the thing like it the like if you and Niantic never allowed any of that in Pokemon Go, right, Nathaniel?
No, they had corporate
You could
sponsorships, but
suggest, yeah,
nothing.
they had that, and you could suggest a location for a
Right.
thing if you had a high enough ranking.
Yep.
But that was it.
I think Cluist is going to go crazy, even though obviously it's much smaller. It's going to be, it's
I
much
think so
more
too.
engaging. It's the Web3
Yeah,
version.
really fun.
But what do you think about that, Nathaniel? Because you're a super expert in all of these areas.
I think Cluist is going to blow up as soon as it hits a mass market like the U.S. market or Japan market. As soon as that happens, they're going to blow up. They're all like constantly releasing new content, like different. They
Yeah.
have 3 different ages: a medieval age, a modern age, and a future age. And they're releasing content and clothes and quests for all that stuff. And it's all user
It's
generated. So you go and you press the button, and it takes you to the part of the world where that quest was created, and you can run that quest. Hashtag stay at home. It's pretty cool. Very evolved.
it is really cool, right? You can travel the
Right.
world, and they already have AR involved, right? So, which is really cool. Imagine when they update that to like somehow some kind of weird VR, like Google Street View
Yeah.
VR, that you can be in places. I just think it's amazing. They're based in Spain. There will be an announcement about my involvement there, so I don't want to drop too much alpha ahead of them. But that is, I think, where gaming must go, right? Even though people who have a lot of power are like, it's the old guys, the Web 2 version, are flexing their power to hold on to whatever they can, but you can't change this tide is already rolling in. They're
Right.
going to lose all their creators as soon as those guys know that they can get paid and how much they can get paid.
It's like newspaper when radio started coming out. They made a desperate grasp to hold on to their technology and what they had built before it transitioned to the next thing.
Yeah, but newspapers
Evolution of
managed to go
technology.
fine. Newspapers were fine through radio.
Yeah.
Radio didn't hurt newspapers, but the internet killed newspapers, right? Craigslist
Yep.
killed newspapers.
They had to
Um,
evolve, right?
yeah, and yeah. So I think these guys. It depends. Like, is the NFT movement for these entrenched gaming powerhouses? Is it radio or is it internet? Is it something that's going to
Nice.
exist alongside and maybe and both ecosystems do fine? even though it may push it into a second place position, it's not going to kill it. Or is it going to be like internet, where basically it destroys the business model, and they absolutely have to evolve? That's going to be interesting to see.
Time will tell.
Indeed. All
Yeah.
right. Well, I think it's about time for us to move on to our next segment, which is today. It's a proposal feature from brought to you by Decide Voter. But today we're going to actually chat a little bit about the new amend proposal that was just announced last week. Douglas, can you give us a brief update about it and a description of what we're voting on?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have on Telos, we have Rex, where people can stake their Telos that they're not using yet, and but don't want to buy or sell and just leave it, and they can get rewards that come out of the very serendipitous uh, reserves that we got when a lot of more people than we expected, didn't accept their Telos in the first year. Their free Telos that we airdropped to them, um, airdrop to all EOS Genesis members. So those came back. We had something to do. Instead of burning them, we decided to distribute them to Telos holders on an ongoing basis until they're gone, and also running the network with them. So that's why we haven't had any inflation. Now, with EVM coming out, we want to encourage people to use EVM, but there's no staking there's no Rex equivalent on EVM. So sTLOS is a new single staking asset pool where you can basically put your Telos on EVM, your real Telos, into a single asset staking pool run by the chain, so you don't have to worry about some third party, nefariously stealing your stuff. And you get in exchange sTLOS, which is basically a deposit receipt for that you can then stake into other pools. And and it can get stolen by nefarious third parties there, or it can go into great DeFi platforms, right? It essentially lets you both kind of have your cake and eat it too. You can have your steak and and DeFi it too. So
So
it's a great thing.
yeah,
And we just want to, we think everybody's interested in doing it. It's already passing, but we'd love for this to be, we'd love for this to have the greatest engagement possible.
and can I vote with my staked sTLOS?
If assuming this goes forward and passes, we will have to update that.
Vote.
But remember, when Rex came out, you weren't immediately able to vote with that stake token either.
Right.
So it just it takes time. We're trying to get this out as soon as possible. We're all progressing all these things, but we don't think there's any reason to wait. People will have the option. They'll have to weigh whether they want to, the voting rights and everything.
S vote.
Yeah, you got to understand, this is everything we're doing on Telos is really pushing the edge of e-governance, d-governance, and finance, right?
Yeah, are there other EVMs that have staking platforms or that have staking?
Oh yeah, there's other single asset staking. I mean, they don't have to. In fact, we're adopting it because it's a popular feature elsewhere. But none of those, really worry about governance. They don't have the level of governance. But the thing is, we have this amend. So first of all, to enable it, we're having the voters vote on it. Now it looks like a lot of insiders are passing it through just because we're excited about it. We're token holders too, and we're allowed to be excited about stuff that we're working on. We just want this to get passed. And with the most people, like, I don't care if you vote for it or against it or abstain. I just like to see people vote. Right. I'm not, I will, it's transparently on the chain that I personally have voted yes in a big way. So this is going to get better and better. And we're going to be able to tweak the amounts that are sent between Rex and sTLOS as the voters choose. So yeah, it's going to be, I think it's a great thing. I hope people vote. But yeah, if you haven't and you're watching this now, please jump on it really quick. Yeah, hopefully you'll go and check that out, and we'll have some address in the link. You can also vote at app.telos.net, and that one will have a direct link. We will be putting direct links into Decide Voter pretty quick. That's on our pretty close roadmap for that, which will make things easier. I'm excited, isn't it? Like, are you guys excited as I am about the various things that we're adding to like dstor and Decide Voter? I mean,
Yes.
I can't wait till the new UI comes out.
The new UI.
The new UI on dstor, right?
It looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It looks so much. Yeah, it looks so much better. So much more like a product now. I'm very excited. I mean, not that it was ever bad, but it's just getting better and better. And now I can see that it's like, oh, okay, this is a real product, and looking forward to when we can open the floodgates a little bit more. We might open them just a little bit more because you have so many people now wanting to use it, like as potential large customers that we're giving access to.
Yeah.
Did I say too much?
No.
Maybe. CJ might
It's okay.
have a problem.
It's good. It's good.
It's good.
I want people to expect a little bit of alpha to be dropped on these things.
Oh yeah.
Right. Get them to tune in.
Fair enough.
Didn't drop too much. All right, so let's jump into the meat and potatoes of this episode, which is what the heck is a security and why do people care so much about what defines one? So right now we're seeing a lot of really interesting things happening in the regulation space, or attempts to regulate crypto by calling things securities. Today, as I mentioned, so this is Wednesday at about noon that we're recording this, and by the time this comes out Friday, things could change very much because things are developing quickly. But there are a couple of lawsuits and the big and things going on, and they're revealing juicy information. The big picture is the SEC has for a long time said, hey, these cryptos are securities, and therefore we should regulate them because we regulate securities. That's our job. And a lot of people have said, well, are they though? And that law, those were made in the 1930s, and could they have possibly foreseen these? And you use this thing with the Howey test, which is based on an investment in orange groves in Florida, and how well do those things actually apply? And in Telos land, we've been looking from the very beginning about following all possible guidance to have to do everything that they say is to make you not a security. But the problem is the SEC never really provided any guidance.
Yeah.
And so how do you follow it?
Because they decide to change their mind about what, okay, for now we're kind of just using the Howey test. Well, when we make up our minds, like, are you just going to keep moving that goalpost for us?
Could be. Yeah. I mean, I would posit that the lack of regulations has been intentional.
Yep.
And has been an intentional tactic to slow the growth of the crypto market. Because as long as you don't have any regulations, who knows what you can do? There's no certainty. So fewer big.
It's like they're watching to see what's going to happen, right? Because also the SEC didn't serve Coinbase with a cease and desist, so they're not making them stop. I think they just want to find out how they can make money at it before they are excited about them continuing.
Well, so there's two big things going on right now. There's the Ripple lawsuit, which has been going on for a couple years. Ripple, whether you like them or love them, hate them, whatever, are indifferent. They did what I hoped somebody would do, which is like not just make a deal, right? You got to kind of push these things, or else you're just going to be making you're just going to be regulating this based on what deals people make. When Block One took a deal, I was like, oh, hey, I wish you guys would have fought a little bit more because you had the money. And they're like, yeah, but we hate all people. We hate all our users. So no. So, and people are like, well, let them get some clarity so that they can, so then the ecosystem can grow. I'm like, yeah, I guess. But it turned out they didn't care. They just wanted to be over so they could move on to the next fundraising scam bullish. But Ripple has has stood up for the community and the industry and fought these things. So they're fighting and they're
And they're
asking
trying to do it all
for.
over the world too, right? It's not
Right.
just here in the US that they're doing
Right.
these fights. Like they're taking this fight to pretty much most countries that are willing to talk to them.
It's not, but in the U.S., the U.S., while it's only one country, and this is another thing to kind of be that's pretty sus, is the laws that we make, the financial regulations that we make in the U.S. guide most of the rest of the world, whether fair or not, right? So because the U.S. is one of the largest financial uh, powerhouses, and if you do things that Americans aren't able to take part in, then who's gonna then who like it's very hard to really keep Americans out if you want something to be successful. So
Right.
everyone's going to have to be bound at some level, even if just not legal but practical by what the SEC does. But the judges lately have said, "Hey, SEC, you're really overstepping your bounds. You can't do any. You were never empowered by Congress to do this, and as a commission, you're not allowed to just make up your own things that you think you should be doing. The Congress has to specifically empower you, and that's true. That's something I've been saying for a long time." Is that they're making this up, and now there's some backing to it. They so on that in that one they wanted a guy named William Hinman, who had been a director for the SEC, to provide the legal internal legal emails around something he said in 2019 2018 at the Yahoo Finance conference, where he basically said Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities. And so then everyone went by that. Okay, they're not securities because they're sufficiently decentralized and there's no third party to go to. So everyone goes, okay, well, this guy is a director at the SEC. That's what that's the information we've been waiting for.
That's not
But
legislation.
but Ripple is asking for. I said, great. Well, what were the internal emails around that? And the SEC's like, oh no, we don't have to say that. Oh, they've been making up all these excuses, and the judge is like, no, you have to show those, and they still haven't. But there have been some interesting things, that are coming up. Yeah. Meanwhile, the SEC is going after Coinbase and saying, hey, these things are securities. And they're like, why are they securities? Well, they're securities because if they're not securities, then it's not under our jurisdiction to
because of
come
that.
after them. So therefore they must be.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there's so many cool, juicy things there, right? Like people are accusing and finding evidence that when when William Hidman made that declaration and Ethereum the Ether price went skyrocketed pretty closely after that. Turns out he may have had some investments in the company he used to work at that made a bunch of money, and then when he left the SEC, he went back to work for them. So that's one of those very cozy things, at the SEC, where
the financial
very
players
suspect.
are the ones making the rules.
Yeah, and they're in bed together.
Right.
Like
Absolutely. There's no legislation around who can join and whether you have an investment. Whether you have the investment that conflates your priorities.
Yeah, the SEC is definitely not Web3.
No.
It's very it's they will centralize. It's like Web -3 because they'll claim ownership and authority over stuff that they really have never been granted.
So,
Eminent
but do
domain
we
over
think that
blockchain.
Coinbase is like on good footing, or are they? Obviously the SEC is trying to overstep their bounds, but at the same time, obviously people are concerned. I mean, so we've also found out today that Cathie Wood sold 1.4 million shares of Coinbase stock. So
75%
it's
of her
like I don't know. Did they must not feel that confident that this is
at a loss too. It's not like she had some baked in gain.
Big loss, right?
Yeah, but so Coinbase. So the question is, hey, is Coinbase? So then Coinbase must be totally in the right? But that's kind of suspect too, because one of the reasons they're trying to charge these, right? They're calling these 7 coins securities because they did ICOs, and who knows, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. There's never been any real clear rules given. So maybe they are, but they're saying it so they can enforce. But what they really want to enforce is that Coinbase has been accused of insider trading by people at Coinbase saying, knowing who's going to be listed, buying a bunch of those coins outside, or, it's very easy to hide that.
Yep.
And then making a bunch of money on those, because when you get listed on Coinbase, there's a big
You
pop.
explode.
So their employees did this insider trading. And this is something that came up a couple years ago, and where they found there was reason to suspect this, or they found some employees were doing it, and I think they addressed it internally and made policies that employees couldn't do it. But at that time, it was still obvious to me. It's like, you can't hide this, because crypto, like, great, they're just going to do it off an account that they cleverly hid. I would hope if you're working at Coinbase, enough to, to hide transactions should you choose to do some, uh, underhanded stuff, right? So it happened again, So
Yeah.
Coinbase is, I don't think they're pushing back hard on this, but it doesn't seem like they're exactly blameless, because they had this warning a couple of years ago. They made policies, but they didn't do apparently much to stop people from doing insider trading. So clearly there's some problems at Coinbase, and then there's a lot at the SEC. And I think by the time this comes out, hopefully on Friday, we're going to know a lot more about Director William Hinman's engagement, and as those papers and emails come out and hopefully become public. Okay, so that was fun. Let's have a little palate cleanser and see Nathaniel do Moss's Market Minute. You got 1 minute, buddy.
I got 1 minute
On the clock.
All right.
Ready,
Start
set,
the clock.
go.
So this week we've had a spring thaw where crypto has gone up. We've had major players like Matic and Telos and EOS go up 15%. But I would not expect that these trends are going to continue for very long. So you may want to set a high bound where you're willing to sell, swap your coin to something more stable, and then when it comes back down, buy back up. Some major winners this week were Telos. They're big up. Matic is very, very high. EOS was a big winner this week. We had some losers. Bitcoin, Coinbase obviously has been 85% down, and they are not looking like they're going to get back up. But as most degenerates know, you hold while you're down, and then it'll rise back up, right? So continue to hold your tokens as you possibly can. A whole bunch of good listings. I would just recommend stay with what you've got this week and don't make any big moves.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I don't know if this is going to be a regular segment or not, but let me follow up that Moss's Market Minute with Doug's Alpha Drop, which is, why are EOS, Telos, and Polygon, why are they going up? Well, Polygon, it's pretty obvious because they made some announcements about the capacity of the network growing due to the zero knowledge proofs that they're going to be adding. Why are Telos and EOS going up? Hard to say, because we haven't made any announcements. But if you watch what's happening in the coalition, and you some of the things that we've been hinting at, I'd say, first of all, EOS and Telos are going to have those same zero knowledge proof intrinsic built in. That's on the roadmap that we've approved for, and we're funding already. So you can expect that. And I mentioned a while ago that I didn't think that 10,000, we've been using this 10,000 transactions per second number for a while, right? We've been using this for a while, but that was based on something that we did on Jungle Testnet over 2 years ago. And I've been saying, hey, just solely based on Moore's law, that should be more now, right? There's more computing power. Also, that was before we changed some things. So I said we should expect that maybe it's higher than that. And the TCD has gotten together and put together a program where we are going to be actively testing that. And I can't say anything more except that the people involved in that, like GoodBlock, have look at the smile on Nathaniel's face.
It's exciting.
Yeah. All right. That's Doug's alpha drop for this week. There's no real alpha, but boy, I would look into that further.
Well, thank you so much. The Doug's Alpha is definitely something to think about adding to the end of our market minutes. So let's move on now to our last segment for today, which is our block stuff or crypto BS. Nathaniel, would you like to share your block stuff?
Your stuff. Show us your stuff.
So the first one here, not sure if Bitcoin value is going up or fiat is going down. Everybody's saying there's no such thing as inflation, and yet we're balancing out. The euro and the US dollar are balancing now. So that one's silly. The second one I have over here is Dogecoin is just money made up money with an infinite supply, and the Federal Reserve is taking note of this very closely. We do not own a money printer either.
That is the same. Yeah. Boy, crypto people have been way ahead of the inflation thing. Right? Like way ahead, like too far ahead. Like you would make like you too far ahead for it to be effective, like, and make money at it. I always like get the timing wrong on these things. It's like, oh my God, inflation is going to be terrible. And then it's like a year goes by and then it finally hits, people's brain space. Right. But Bitcoin people especially have been saying, oh my, this inflation's terrible and we don't have inflation. And Telos also doesn't have any inflation.
Right.
It hasn't for over 2 years and won't for at least 2 years. So most likely. So zero inflation or very controlled inflation chains are very aware of it. And also I think Ethereum is moving has become deflationary at times with their new burn coin burn system. So I think more and more that that tokenomic is going to become increasingly important to people, especially during this time, right? Where you got to pick a real winner. Not everybody's, it's crypto winter, right?
Mm-hmm. Still is.
That's some good BS, man.
Thank you.
Good block stuff.
Thank you.
My BS for today is that so recently Binance tried to sue a guy, not tried. They're in the process of suing this guy for stealing a domain. To steal a domain that he purchased and has been using since before Binance even existed for his own. He doesn't say what the domain is, but he's been using it for his own regular website purposes since 2017, and Binance is now trying to basically steal the domain from him because they reached out to him first and said, hey, are you willing to part with this domain name? Well, sure, maybe. I don't know. Not really, but if the price is right.
What's your price? What are you offering?
Right.
Yeah, if the price is right. And then so he responded to something pretty high. He'd take 420 ETH was what he replied. So they basically just like
they have it. They
tried to haggle and then they went quiet. So they tried to haggle it with him and then they went quiet and then all of a sudden this letter showed up at his door basically saying they were going to try and take legal action to take the domain from him.
Yeah, well, that's nutty.
Nope.
I guess if CZ wants it, CZ's going to get it,
Why wouldn't CZ he's going to pay more in legal fees than right?
Yeah.
He doesn't, well, no, that's fine, but he doesn't care. He doesn't want to set up there's a couple things. Number one, if you have a trademark, you do actually have to defend your trademark or you can just lose your trademark. So they do have to, a lot of times when companies, send these letters, it's like they have to, they have to show that they're defending it or else their trademark goes away. But I mean, this is, This is crazy, but it kind of sucks, right? It does really suck.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck to that guy.
My BS.
Yeah, that's good. That's definitely BS. So my block stuff is about the Helium ecosystem. So Helium is really kind of a theoretically cool blockchain project where they make internet access of what's that?
They make a network of networks.
They make a network of networks. I think pretty soon we're going to have a network of networks of networks. That's what we're going to need. And we're going to have Web 11, and like just start, yeah. And blockchain 3000. So, and infinite TPS. Those like just make the numbers bigger, So what these guys do though is they like you can set up a special mining machine approved by them to extend your Wi-Fi and internet access to anyone in a radius, right, of this machine, and make money. Now the machines cost, these machines cost hundreds of dollars, and people are doing these all over, to make low raw WAN internet, but the actual amount people are earning is probably a penny per month per.
So they're actually earning $20 a month, but it's being subsidized because they would only be getting a penny if they were actually giving how much the company is making.
Right, because the network's actually bringing in right now a total of $6,500 per month, right? And that's another thing where they like are freely printing their technology, or they're freely printing their tokens, right? So I actually looked into this first because I wanted to support it. Like I like to support things. It doesn't have to be Telos. The reason I found out about it mostly was that the Condo Weather Balloon platform uses it as its low raw WAN internet radio platform for these weather balloons, and I thought that's great, and it connects to Telos. So I was going to run one, and then I started looking into these. They have a map. People are using these all over the place, and every one of those people who bought one of those $800 machines is going to be like somebody who bought like a Dash mining ASIC. They never ever make their money back.
All those RTXs,
$800 or something for these nodes.
Yeah. Well, because for the more expensive one, they have the regular ones, and they have the new 5Gs. So really, it seems like this is a way for them to sell their machines and beef up their token, but not a legitimate use right now. I feel sorry for anybody who bought those machines.
Why buy a Helios node if you could buy Starlink?
Right. I just got the word that my Starlink has shipped.
Yeah.
So we will be giving a full on,
unboxing.
We'll have to do a full on episode on Starlink, and we'll have to have Jesse on it. I'm saying JT.
I just paid my Jesse on it too to get my Starlink on my yacht.
Yeah, it's $10K for 2 terminals and then $5K a month for marine. So, but I think if you have a yacht, that's like a rounding error anyway.
I pay my staff less.
Yeah, so another buddy of mine. So JT was working at SpaceX, and so he knows a lot about that and very on top of it as an ex-Xer. But another buddy of mine, I found out, built the PCB boards. But he's a PCB board designer. So maybe we can get like a sweet Starlink episode once that's up and running.
I look forward to a Starlink episode. I think that'll be cool.
That'll be cool. So I guess that's our episode.
That's
it. Woo! Thank you very much for checking it out. I think we're going to keep some of these fun, new, shorter segments like Doug's Alpha Drop and, of course, Moss's Market Minute. We're trying to make this fun and informative at the same time. This is like our 4th or 5th episode or whatever, and it's just going to get better. So hit that subscribe button, please. And if you can like this and share it with people, that'd be awesome. And also give us some comments. Tell us what you want this to be. right? We're in typical good block fashion, we want to hear from the people using it, the people who want to use it. Happy to hear good, bad, and indifferent, but help us shape this into the awesome unique crypto podcast that you want to hear. All right, thanks.